Hey, yo, and what's up, gang? Thank you for checking us out at the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show today. We are watching live right now as The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels are getting into more action than The Undertaker and Triple H at this point.
It's gonna have to. This is the last time ever.
This match has been really brutal, absolutely insane right now. We got The Undertaker with a chair and Triple H with a steel sledgehammer. Yeah, the sledgehammer is in play. There's a cover going on, but the referee is out again. There has been 2 referees knocked out during the course of this matchup. Corey Graves echoing my sentiments. These 2 gladiators absolutely spent right now. They have been going at it for so long. Triple H still with the sledgehammer in his hands, holding The Undertaker by the hair, looking to inflict some heavy damage. Wait a minute! The Undertaker, shades of WrestleMania 17, the Hell's Gate is in! Triple H in danger of tapping out right now, but still has the sledgehammer in his hand. There is no referee to make the call, even if the game fades to black right now. He's raising that sledgehammer. He's got, look at this, no way. He's using his weight, putting all his weight on the handle of that sledgehammer to the throat of The Undertaker. These guys simultaneously trying to choke each other out. They are done. Both men absolutely exhausted, laid out in the ring, sucking wind heavily as the referee is just nowhere to be found. An absolutely unbelievable display by our 2 legends. I was not looking forward to this matchup, as many of you know, and they have absolutely silenced me as a critic.
So is Triple H.
This has been amazing.
Superstars who have literally done everything there is to do in this industry, asking themselves now, what do I have left?
The Undertaker,
what more do I have to
trying with all his might to get to his
victory?
feet, trying to use the ropes to his advantage, but just falls to the floor.
Anyone knows how to do it. Unfortunately, it's both of these men who gets
The
there
only
first.
bad thing I could say about this match thus far is that it is just showing the new generation how to do it. I hope. Oh, look at this. Kane and Shawn Michaels in the ring now. Shawn Michaels with a low blow to Kane. Kicked him right in the fiery balls. The Undertaker now sends HBK out. Triple H coming back to his senses. The Undertaker has his back to the game right now, not something that you want to do.
You can hear Undertaker gasping for breath.
After having that sledgehammer pressed against
Triple H still struggling to get to his feet, though. As I was saying, I hope that the young kids in the back, everybody in the back, should be having a notepad and pencil in hand and just taking down notes, because these guys are showing you how it's done. This has been a tremendous main event, a lot of drama built up here. Triple H going for a pedigree, but The Undertaker, back body drops out of it, sets up for a choke slam. Just barely gets the choke slam off, showing you how much he is just losing energy and strength in this battle with Triple H. Didn't really get the full effect of it. Looking for a whoa! Going for a tombstone, gets hit by H-Bald K.
But Undertaker's still up.
And goes for a second Sweet Chin Music, but misses. Michaels now set up for the tombstone. Sledgehammer to the head of the dead man by the game. My God. Shawn Michaels now, Sweet Chin Music, right into the pedigree. Boom! My God, this is it. 1, 2, 3. D-Generation X. Whoa! Wow.
It's over.
Unbelievable.
What a great match.
Last time ever.
That was a great. Oh, stop it. Stop it with the last time ever. We're going to see these four in the ring at the Crown Jewel show. Last time ever. More hyperbole from the WWE. Don't get me started talking shit, because this was a great match. This was a great match, you guys. My goodness. Showing some of the replays now. That super kick was right on the money. Right into the waiting arms of the game. Adding the final blow. And gaining a sense of retribution after failing to defeat The Undertaker at WrestleMania on many occasions. The game, the COO, putting the rules to his advantage, making this a no disqualification matchup. And it takes one to wonder, had it not been no disqualification, would this be a different outcome for the game? They are celebrating maybe a little too much so. Triple H looks like he's about to cry. Maybe that's more from the amount of pain he's endured. This was an absolutely brutal contest. The fact that these two guys are in or near their 50s and are able to put on a match like this, wrestling nearly for 1 hour to finish off this show and really just kick off the whole entire program that we are going to see between HBK and The Undertaker coming at us. At least that's what I assume. And after what I've seen from The Undertaker tonight, my confidence in what we might be seeing in the future has grown a little bit. This was a little eye-opening. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. I definitely sold these guys short, and I will never do that again. When you're talking about legends, future Hall of Famers in this industry, they went out there tonight and showed you why. That doesn't mean this show was a 100% home run, though, you guys. Let's turn the volume down on this shit now. We got something going on. There's like a four-way stare down happening now. The Undertaker's still down on the canvas. Triple H going towards the dead man. Kane is with him in the corner. Very awkward right now. I don't know what's happening. I was about to shut this shit down, but it looks like something else is going to go down. I don't know what we're going to see here. Some sort of showing of respect here as The Undertaker handed Triple H the sledgehammer, and then Triple H dumps the sledgehammer to the outside. He's now extending his hand to the dead man. And now they're like forehead to forehead in the ring. Just showing each other some respect right now. I don't know what's happening here. Alright, so now there's a handshake going on. Triple H helping The Undertaker to his feet. Shawn Michaels saying, we've all been through enough, haven't we? I don't know what that truly means. They're hugging it out right now. I don't really understand what all this is going on. I thought they were turning this into a thing, but now we got a four-way celebration going on. Everybody raising each other's hands for putting on such a great main event. Oh, some more pyro. Nice to see the pyro coming back, you guys. I guess only foreign countries are allowed to have the pyro nowadays. Triple H is crying. Undertaker looks dead. Kane looks like he's bored out of his mind. Shawn Michaels is like got a smirk going on with his bald head as the Super Showdown is coming to an end. let's get this review started. Thank you guys for joining me. Having a little bit of fun today, starting this review up. Actually watching the end of the show so you guys can get my live reaction. Doing my very best to call the action. Hopefully I wasn't too loud and everything wasn't too loud for you guys, but that's going to happen sometimes. But this is it. They are still celebrating and we are going to close down the live feed right now. Super Showdown came to an end. It wasn't as much of a Super Suckdown as I thought it was going to be. Thank you guys for checking in once again at the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is going to be your Super Showdown. Well, wait a minute. God damn it. The Undertaker and Kane just absolutely laid to waste HBK and Triple H. Oh my, and it's continuing to go on. They are now going after Shawn Michaels. I can't believe this is happening. We were just about to kick off the real start of the show, and now, look, live as it happens. This is probably the most exciting episode we have ever done. At least in the beginning. Uh-oh, we are outside the ring now. They are clearing the tables off. We are clearing the announce tables. Clearing the furniture now.
Why now?
Kane and The Undertaker absolutely irate right now, just going to town on H-Bald K. Triple H is out cold in the ring after receiving a tombstone. Shawn Michaels chokeslam into the announce table. My God! My God! The Undertaker showing absolutely no respect, no mercy.
Last exclamation point.
This will continue. Like I told you guys it would, they kind of got me there. I thought they were finishing with this respect thing. And we all expected something like that from D-Generation X. We did not expect to see the Brothers of Destruction go heel, so to speak, and ruin the festivities. Holy shit, you guys. Let's waste no more time and get to the intro. In case you missed it the first time, I'm Nick Nightmare, and this is going to be the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's shocking Super Showdown review and results show right here on Sledgehammer TV. Let's do this, baby.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Oh my God, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me. This was a very shocking turn of events that happened to end this show. I am glad you guys were all here live to watch it with me. I fired it up because I thought this thing was coming to an end. We have over 13 minutes of a pre-show segment, I guess, because I never really go that long before firing up the intro. I want to thank you guys for sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed my commentary. I did my very best to be as exciting and entertaining as I could. I know for shit sure that I was way better than Michael Cole, hands down. So thank you guys for indulging that, and I hope you enjoyed it, like I said. So now let's get to the review. Let's pull out the notes. Like I said, I hope the young kids were taking notes during that last match, because to see two guys the age they are go out there and just leave you flabbergasted by the end of the night, they are going to be the last thing you remember when you leave the show, not just because they were the main event, but because of the way the match went down. Absolutely fantastic main event put on by two future Hall of Famers in this industry, and I definitely need to eat my words on that one, because I pretty much shit all over this match, telling everybody we didn't need this and it was unnecessary, and I think we absolutely did need this. Not just for us, but for the entire roster to go out and see, this is what you guys are supposed to be doing on a weekly basis. This is how professional wrestling is done. There's storytelling involved. There was a lot of drama. It was an excellent way to end this pay-per-view, and I wouldn't normally say that without titles or anything being involved, but this was just a lot of fun. It made me feel very nostalgic, and if that was the point, bravo. They definitely nailed it, because I felt like I was 17 again watching these two guys doing their thing in the ring, maybe better than anybody else on this night. But the Super Showdown was, like I said, not as much of a super suckdown as I expected, but there was some very super suckdown moments to be talked about on this show, and we will do so. 70,309 crazy awesome Aussies packed the MGC to witness this show. And one of the bad things about shows like this, as good as this show might have been, this was a very entertaining show without its mistakes here and there. But one of the things I don't like about these shows is back in the day, they used to have these, foreign shows that would have these super cards, right? And they wouldn't have anything really to do with what was going on in the main roster on the television programming. And I think by having these shows and having so many in close succession is one of the reasons why Raw and SmackDown continue to fail us as wrestling fans. Instead of being able to focus on the stories that are going on the show, we have to keep pushing the next big event, and with them coming at us in such a rapid-fire manner, it's just almost impossible for these guys to get us invested in anything, because no time is really given to anything to grow. They did their very best in the case of Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, which was my favorite match on the night until we got to this main event, and we will talk about that in just a minute, but we are going to go in order here. As the show kicked off with the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, we seen the New Day going against the Bar here, the New Day, the champions. This was a great match. There was not too much bullshit, not too much shenanigans going on, but I actually thought the Bar was going to get the Tag Team Championships here. God forbid the WWE do something a little different and they want to keep the titles on the New Day for some reason, instead of making us go down a new street, some sort of a new path on this World Tag Team Championships on SmackDown Live, because they just don't care. They just don't care. They have them around the waist of the New Day. They're content with that. The New Day sells merchandise, and the Tag Team Championships are going to continue to be confined to the comedy segment of the night, which is my only point about this whole entire matchup, because it was a good match. It wasn't anything near as good as what I saw last night at House of Glory with their Tag Team Championship match, and that's a straight honest-to-God fact, but you can hear all about that in my Extreme Warfare review, which is coming at you guys later on this weekend. But this match was very good for what we've been getting on the regular from the main roster talent, at least in the tag team division, so I was alright with it. I just hate that they're sticking with the same old shit. The New Day retained their championships in a very good kickoff matchup. We immediately followed this with the SmackDown Live Women's Championship, which I thought would be deeper into the card, and actually the entire show was very front-loaded by the SmackDown Live card. And Charlotte Flair would be taking on the champ, Becky Lynch, and it is nice to know that worldwide the feeling is unanimously the same. It's not just us here in the States or some of you guys in the UK. Even down under, they are on fire for Becky Lynch, and nobody wants to see the glorious good girl queen Charlotte Flair that way. We want to see Charlotte Flair being the bitch, and that's not the way they are writing this tale, which is my only complaint about this match, because this was Charlotte Flair's best match of this year, bar none. Everything we've been getting from Charlotte Flair, with the stuff she's done with Carmella, everything she was doing before the injury, was barely even half-star type stuff, and this was the best match I've seen out of her this year. I am very honest. I have to give credit where the credit is due. It wasn't the best match ever, don't get me wrong, but she was very good. Maybe you could attribute that to Becky Lynch and their chemistry from being friends and being so familiar with each other in the ring from their time in NXT all the way up until now, but this was a very good matchup. May have been the best SmackDown Live women's matchup all year, but this great match had an absolutely shit ending. The WWE trying to force their narrative down your throat as Becky Lynch would play the heel role in the finish of this matchup, getting herself disqualified by using the SmackDown Live Women's Championship when she found herself wrapped up in a figure four leg lock by Charlotte Flair. On the verge of losing the championship, inches away from the bottom rope that she could have grabbed, but instead she grabbed the belt and got herself disqualified. The crowd was not very happy with this. The WWE writing her still as a heel, trying to force this story down our throats, and I did not appreciate that one bit, but I did appreciate the effort the girls put into this matchup. It was very entertaining. Probably one of my favorite women's matchups from the main roster all year long. Then we had the first useless tag team matchup of the night, Elias and Kevin Owens versus Boring Trashley and John Cena Layfield. What the hell is with this guy? He lost about 50 pounds. He's got this JBL coif hairdo going on, and he looks ridiculous. He didn't really look like John Cena to me. I don't mean to say, like, you know, people can't change or what, he can't get a new hairstyle. I hear you. Don't be a dick. Of course he can. He just looked very much like a young JBL, if you ask me, and it was a little off-putting, and I didn't like JCL in this matchup at all. I was bored. I was bored to tears during the entirety of this matchup. The only thing I liked was the beginning, which was the introduction of Elias and Kevin Owens. I'm actually starting to enjoy them as a duo. I think Kevin Owens coming off as like Elias's #1 fan and being like his bad cop, so to speak, and you know, Elias can play the good cop and say all this good shit and then just dump all over the Australian crowd, which is what he did, which is what he does best. And then we got it followed up by this very boring match that I really didn't give a shit about. It seemed to drag and it felt too long, but maybe it's because of my failed investment in anything going on in this matchup. I didn't want to see John Cena come back and wait for the whole entire match to execute his 6 moves of doom and then have the match be finished. And what did he do? Wrestle 2 minutes? Why didn't they go the opposite route? Bobby Lashley, as much as I don't want to see him, he is the new star. He is the flavor of the month. He's the guy you should be trying to push. But instead of making John Cena get the beat down for the entirety of the match and then come back and hit that hot tag to Bobby Lashley and let him get the win to put him over because he's the guy that's going to be on TV Monday. He's the guy you were trying to push as the next big thing in the WWE Raw roster. But no, you give the spotlight to a guy that came back from China, stopped speaking Mandarin for about 30 seconds, and graced us with a useless garbage thank you promo that nobody needed to hear, for him to go back to China, eat some more rice, and film some more movies, and now Bobby Lashley comes off looking like the weak link. And why would you do that? John Cena don't need to be looking like no hero anymore. It would have been much more entertaining. Not that I would have given a shit either way how Cena and Lashley won this match. The whole goddamn world knew Cena and Lashley was going to win this matchup. It was no surprise to me. The action was because Bobby Lashley is trash, and John Cena just stood there for the majority of the matchup, holding on to the tag rope. The only guy to hold the tag ropes for the night, if I'm being honest. I'll give him credit for that. Everybody else just didn't give a shit that the tag ropes were even tied up there. It was absolutely garbage. I don't understand. And by the way, WWE, acknowledging that fucking fist to the face and calling it the 6th move of doom, how stupid are they? Do they not realize that the moves of doom are not a positive connotation? It's not a cool way that the fans make reference to John Cena's moves. It's the 5 moves of doom because that's all he fucking does. So now we have this 6th move of doom, and you are going to embrace that? You're going to try to take that from us? It's not a good thing, Cole, you idiot. Graves, you jerk off. It's not good to be a move of doom. It's a bad thing. It's a negative connotation. You shouldn't be embracing it. Absolutely ridiculous. More absolute ridiculousness came our way in the form of the first women's tag team matchup of the night. We had the iconic duo coming home to Australia to face Asuka and Naomi. But for once, and I don't say this very often, I actually agree with Corey Graves because he said, I don't know what to make of this. I don't know what to make of any of this, I believe he said. And I don't either. I don't really like this goofy dance and glow Asuka. It just doesn't fit to me. After seeing her, the way they've presented her in NXT, and how she was brought up to the main roster in that same aspect, and then you want to turn her into a fucking glow-in-the-dark clown. Essentially a side piece for Naomi, when Asuka is the more experienced and the bigger star of the two worldwide. Nothing against Naomi. Naomi is fantastic. She was an absolute shining star in this match. Her athleticism is unmatched in the women's division. She's definitely underutilized and underrated, and she should be more in the main event picture than being side-saddled with Asuka because the WWE don't know what else to do with them. So we're going to put them in this match with the Iconics, and it's going to be lots of dancing and fun, and going to be some interesting spots here and there where the girls would look good. But at the end of the day, did you really, really care? Unless you're from Australia and you really, really like the Iconics, or you're a huge fan of Asuka and Naomi, you had no investment in this match either. The Iconics win this match. It wasn't the worst. Again, this wasn't the worst match. They did try some interesting stuff. And I wasn't expecting the WWE to break the tradition of having their hometown people lose in their hometowns. But that seemed to be a trend tonight as the duo from Australia, the Iconics, beat Asuka and Naomi. For whatever reason, I don't know why. And I'm sure it's going to continue on SmackDown Live. My favorite match on this night was AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe in the no DQ matchup. However, after seeing how this show went off the air and the sudden announcement of the no DQ stipulation for The Undertaker and Triple H, I can't help but feel that they forced Styles and Joe to dial back whatever they may have planned for this match. As great as it was, I believe it was probably figured out to be even greater. But because the main event decided to steal the stipulation, or have two matches with the same stip on the same card, I think Styles and Joe suffered. And you can see that. The example I have for you to prove that is the fact that this match went almost, I think it was like 12, maybe 15 minutes before you even seen any resemblance of this match being a no disqualification matchup. In fact, when AJ Styles first had the chair in play, they made it a point on the announce team to remind you guys, oh yeah, by the way, there's no disqualification here. Because these guys were just wrestling the shit out of each other for a solid, good 10 minutes at least. I may be exaggerating on the minutes. I didn't have a stopwatch. I didn't time it specifically, but it was a large portion of the beginning of that match before they even got started. And then they did take the no disqualification stipulation into play, and it did get really crazy once that chair was brought in. Samoa Joe hitting an Uranagi to the champ right through the chair. The table was brought out. AJ Styles, with an electric chair, dropped to Samoa Joe through the table, somewhat on his side. AJ Styles did some damage to the Samoan submission machine's leg. AJ Styles, I keep saying AJ Styles, and I mean to say Samoa Joe, claiming that his leg popped, that he felt some kind of a pop in his knee, and that would be the story throughout the rest of this matchup, as AJ Styles would attack that knee and would end up applying the calf crusher, and it would just be too much for Joe in the end. And this match definitely was my favorite match on the night. It was everything I expected out of AJ and Joe. It was brutal. Absolutely brutal. These two men know each other very well, and they use their experience very well against each other in the ring, telling the very classic heel versus babyface dynamic throughout this. AJ Styles doing the very best he can, coming at Samoa Joe in short bursts and flurries of offense, but just being stifled at every turn by Samoa Joe, ending up in some really powerful predicaments, lots of stiff shots, lots of hard kicks, and this match was definitely worthy of being a World Championship matchup. However, I did not like the ending of this matchup, as Samoa Joe would end up losing. I was expecting them, again, to do something a little different. AJ Styles has been the champ for such a long time. It would not hurt them to have had put the belt on Samoa Joe, especially when you want to factor in the match between The Miz and Daniel Bryan, which we will talk about in a minute, because none of that really makes sense to me, and I'm very confused about the direction in which they are going. Not that it's going to be a bad thing, but we'll come to that bridge in just a second. This was, like I said, a great match, but I just expected a different ending. Not that I'm upset that AJ's the champ. It's great that he remains the champion, and I'm looking forward to what the future has to hold for us, but I just really expected them to do something different here, but that was not the case. The women's six-woman tag team matchup. Oh, boy. The Bellas and Ronda Rousey taking on the Riot Squad. I can't say anything too good about this match. I can't. If we're being honest, I cannot say anything that great. It was too long. It was boring. Nikki Bella, I think, was off her game tonight. She wasn't selling very well. Every time she was on the floor and somebody would hit her with anything, a kick, a dropped elbow, she seemed to be dead and not move at all. Her selling ability tonight was not really there. The finish of this match was the only thing I want to talk about. Ronda Rousey waited for the hot tag the whole match. There was a little bit of tension going on. It looks like they're already going to start to build this thing between Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey, and I don't want to see any of it. So we saw some, tension between the two girls. We saw Nikki Bella focusing on tagging Brie, and Brie trying to stay with tagging Nikki until the odds were just against them and they had no choice but to tag in Ronda. I didn't really care for this match that much, but the end was very fun to see Ronda Rousey wrap up Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan in a dual armbar and get them both to simultaneously tap out. That was a fun ending, and it was cool for Ronda Rousey. I thought it was a good way to put her over. At least the Bellas didn't have anything to do with the finish of the match, and I was okay with that. But at the end of the day, you didn't miss nothing here. There was absolutely nothing special. At least nobody got hurt. That's the best thing, I guess, we could take away from this whole entire matchup. I didn't care. The Cruiserweight Championship was on the line. Buddy Murphy, hometown boy, taking on the long-reigning Cruiserweight Champion Cedric Alexander. I thought this match was going to have the potential to steal the entire night, and it almost did. It wasn't as good as I expected. I've seen them do much better matches on 205 Live, and I think, once again, that was by design, as the WWE probably told them to scale back just a little bit. We did have some great high-flying offense and a lot of good stuff from these two guys, showing everybody why you should be watching 205 Live. Buddy Murphy came out like a house on fire. He was absolutely determined to win the Cruiserweight Championship tonight, not letting Cedric Alexander get in his way. Any single time that Cedric hit him with anything, Buddy Murphy either had a counter or a way to kick out. It was a very high-paced matchup at the start, and then it would kind of slow down into a ground and pound and a submission-based thing. And I think the match suffered from them having to slow it down, but then they would pick things back up towards the end, and Buddy Murphy would surprise the world as he would hit his finisher. I'm not sure what he calls it, and I'm sorry for that. But in his hometown, the self-proclaimed best-kept secret of professional wrestling is a secret no more, as Buddy Murphy captures the Cruiserweight Championship in his home of Melbourne, Australia, to a raucous crowd, and I couldn't be happier for the guy. He's absolutely earned his spot on 205 Live. Cedric Alexander has been a fantastic champion, but I don't mind them changing the wind once in a while, and this is a great direction for them to go down. You guys, if you're not watching 205 Live, you got to start watching it a little bit more, and the more it gets attention, the more I might actually start to try to cover it on this channel. But as of right now, it's still not really worth the coverage and the time, because I barely have time to get you guys what I get you as it is. This was followed by the six-man tag team matchup that I couldn't give two shits about. All three major titles on Monday Night Raw being lumped into one match that has absolutely zero meaning whatsoever. And if anybody watching this match thought at any moment in time that the Shield was not going to win this match, then you must be absolutely drunk off your ass, because there is no way the Shield wasn't coming out on top. They tried the best they could, I guess, to make this entertaining, but it was really the Roman Reigns show for the most part of the matchup, and they just used Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose as a crutch once again to get him over. I know he really didn't play a part in the 1, 2, 3, but without Roman Reigns taking out Braun Strowman through the barricade towards the end of this matchup, the end of the match doesn't happen, so he was the major player, proving his loyalty to Dean Ambrose by sacrificing himself to Braun Strowman and blah, blah, blah. I really didn't give a shit. There was a lot of good action in this matchup, but once again, this is one of the matches on this night that I just have been so fed up with the storyline. The six-man main event picture is too crowded. The Roman Reigns agenda shines on in this matchup, and I just am so sick and tired of it. I don't care. Instead of us getting a fantastic Intercontinental Championship match at this big show, we got to see this ridiculous six-man tag, which was nothing more than a Shield puff piece. They actually went out on a limb and tried to tease the turn of Dean Ambrose during this matchup. They had Dean Ambrose join Strowman, Ziggler, and McIntyre around the ring, surrounding Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. only for Dean Ambrose to jump in the ring and attack Braun Strowman. But for about 30 seconds, the crowd was all hyped and amped up because it looked like Ambrose was going to finally turn his back on his brothers. And then you got to hear Corey Graves and Michael Cole pushing the whole, oh, brothers, they're brothers till the end, blood brothers, workhorses, hounds of justice, blah. I didn't care. This was just everything we expected out of it. I was not entertained for the most part of it. Anything that happened good in this match annoyed me because it's only being done to promote this Shield thing, which we all know is only the Roman Reigns agenda in disguise. So I'm not buying. And I didn't bite. There was some interesting stuff in this one as well. Nothing really worth talking about. I really don't care. The Shield wins. No surprise there. This was a surprise. Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. This match barely got started. And it finished up with a flash roll-up that came so out of nowhere that even the crowd in Melbourne, Australia at the MCG didn't believe what they just saw. There was no reaction to the fact that Daniel Bryan just won a #1 contendership match to challenge the champion at Crown Jewel because we were shocked. It was legit shock. Shock and awe. And why? Why? So you could give an hour to Triple H and The Undertaker? I think that match could have been just as good if they shaved about 20 minutes off of that, did exactly the same things that they did, and then allowed The Miz and Daniel Bryan to give us a show. This is a rivalry, if not one of the hottest rivalries in the WWE right now. The Miz has been outsmarting Daniel Bryan at every turn, and then you have him lose in such a shit-like fashion. It actually looked like a botch to me. The way The Miz was reacting, it looked like maybe that's not the way the match was supposed to finish. I thought maybe Paige was going to come out, maybe something was going to happen, but they immediately had the graphic ready. Daniel Bryan wins the #1 contendership, and then they went right from the end of that match to the promotion of AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan. How fast do these people work? Or if this was the plan, why are they going this way? Why did The Miz not win this matchup? Daniel Bryan has to be the underdog continuously. Having him win here doesn't really make sense. What would have made more sense is if you had The Miz win this matchup and then beat AJ Styles at the Crown Jewel, leading up to Daniel Bryan facing off against The Miz at some point down the line. How he gets there, whether it's the Royal Rumble or Paige just decides to do so, I don't even care. But that was the story to be told here. I'm not going to complain too much about getting Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles, but getting it at the Crown Jewel? That's not a Crown Jewel matchup. That's a WrestleMania matchup. That's at the very least a Royal Rumble matchup when the title's on the line. Crown Jewel. I hate this show. Crown Jewels. It's ruining everything, like I was telling you guys at the beginning of the show. These big major supercards, which used to happen outside of the main roster TV show, and just been a supercard for the sake of being a supercard with no real ramifications to it, are killing the TV shows. How are we going to get AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan onto a path that makes some sort of a sense? There's no heel involved. It's babyface versus babyface. Who's the crowd going to be for? It's going to be very awkward. I don't understand. I don't know what direction they're going to go with it, and I was not happy with the end of this thing. Shocked, stunned silence throughout the arena because nobody knew what the hell to do. Nobody even believed it just happened. The match was just suddenly over. And the entire crowd, instead of jumping up, chanting yes, and celebrating, was just like, seriously? That was it? That couldn't be it. There's got to be something else. But there came nothing else. Except The Miz bitching and moaning to Little Nate about losing this matchup. And I really don't get it. But on the positive side, AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan, it's not a match you can shit on. Unless they really, really ruin the build to it. But at the very least, that matchup, as we've already seen between these two, is going to be top-notch. Two of the best in the business going to kill it. Just like the end of this show, two of the best in the business, two of the best of all time, as we kicked off the show with the live coverage of Triple H versus The Undertaker with HBK and Kane on the outside. The match started off very, very slowly with a lot of mind games going on. And like I said while we were watching this thing, The Undertaker seemed to care more about Shawn Michaels' presence on the outside than anything else. Every time he would get into some sort of a dominating position, having Triple H on the floor, he would turn his attention to Shawn and be like, "Do you see that? Are you watching?" He was attacking Triple H with some of the most vicious chair shots I have seen this side of the year 2000. And he would turn to Shawn Michaels and be like, "Yeah, boy, just see that?" At times I felt like this match almost suffered from having them on the outside, but the no disqualification rule, obviously you knew they were going to play a bigger part in the match than they definitely should have. We saw Kane go through the table, Triple H driving an elbow through the big red machine, exploding him through a table set up on the outside. There was a lot of tremendous action during this matchup, and you all know how it ended because we all watched it together, and there's not really much more I could say that hasn't already been said. This was a great match. It was a great main event. It wasn't absolutely necessary, but we are set on a road where I'm interested. And the fact that I'm interested, and the fact that this was the main event tonight, and the fact that going forward this is probably going to be the best story on TV is actually more of a negative than a positive. The inner wrestling fan in me, the child in me, is going to embrace it and enjoy every minute of it. But the fact that it's happening and overshadowing probably the absolute best roster the WWE has ever seen, and these guys can't do what Triple H and HBK and The Undertaker are doing, it's just sad to see. And to have the comparison right out there in the open for the world to see, like, yeah, this is how wrestling used to be. Awesome. This is how wrestling is now. Okay. You know, good, great at times. But this is what it's all about. Remember? That's what they want. They want to fill us full of member berries. Remember? You guys remember? I remember. I remember Triple H, Undertaker. I remember. Of course you remember, because they just did it again now. Showing you the way it's done. And it wasn't the last time ever. We are going to see them fight again, especially how the show ended at the Crown Jewel show coming up at us in November, and I actually am more excited about it than I was just a week ago, because I don't want to say I had no faith, but I had very little faith that anything we were going to see out of these two tonight was going to be as good as it was. And I have to give credit where credit is due. I'm nothing if not honest. And to not give these gladiators the respect they deserve after what they showed us tonight. And the way they left us hanging with a cliffhanger coming off the Super Showdown. Great way to end the show. But, as you can tell, the general consensus, the Super Suckdown, I'd give it maybe about a C- as a whole, if I had to grade the whole thing. Maybe just based off of Styles and Joe being so great, and Triple H and The Undertaker doing their thing. We had a good tag team matchup. We had a great women's matchup. So about 50% of the card was decent. The other, we actually could have lived without for the most part. And that's your honest-to-God review of the Super Suckdown from me. And thank you guys all so very much for joining me on this episode. Again, I really hope you enjoyed that live watch along with me. I know I can't show you guys the screen, because copyrights and stuff like that. We ain't big enough to be allowed to do stuff like that. That's on you guys. You guys got to start subscribing to this channel so we can get to the point where I can watch wrestling with you guys live and actually have it here. But that doesn't come for a long time. That's at like 100,000 subs, which is a great place to be, and I hope we can get there by tomorrow. But first, we have to eclipse that 1,000 mark, and that starts with you. Awesome wrestling fans like you find their home right here on Sledgehammer TV, the home of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show and the Sledgehammer Club, a club full of the smartest, funniest, most knowledgeable wrestling fans in the world that light that comment section up with some of the greatest things that highlight my day. I look forward to seeing everything you guys have to say to me. Let me know what you guys thought about the Super Suckdown. Let me know what your favorite match was. And most importantly, let me know if you really enjoyed that open today, because if you guys like that, it may be the way we open the show from now on. Maybe we'll just watch the end of Monday Night Raw together here, and you can see my live reaction, and then we can go on with the show like we did here today. If you enjoy this type of a format, let me know, and it's something we can explore doing in the future if that's what's going to get some more subs, because that is the mission here. 1K or bust before we get to the end of this year. The sooner the better. Thank you all for joining me, everybody that has come aboard during this Mae Young Classic season. We've had a nice influx of subscribers, and I can't thank you guys enough for jumping on board. And the way you guys can show me your approval is to smash that thumbs up down really hard. Use your imaginary sledgehammers at home and bash it for me. Make sure you get that thumb all swole and you show the world your support of the Sledgehammer TV and this show and everything that we do here together. My show is nothing without each and every one of you, so you have to share this show with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world who may not be aware that we are here, especially if they had a decent time watching the Super Showdown and are not really looking forward to Monday Night Raw, because that's where the hammer hits hardest. And I hope to see you guys here for our Monday Night Raw review this Monday night and every Monday night on this channel, just like SmackDown Live, and during Mae Young Classic season every Wednesday night, the Mae Young Classic review. We got the House of Glory review coming up at you guys tomorrow afternoon. Don't forget to keep your eye out on that. What a great night I had at House of Glory once again, and it was a great card highlighted by PCO and Bully Ray, and it was a great night, and I hope you guys join me for that one. Also, make sure you get your vote in on the wrestling boxing unboxing that you just cannot miss. That Wrestling Club versus Wrestling Clay, September 2018 dual unboxing. I need your help to choose the winner to see who gets that championship belt this month, and check out every single other thing we have here for you guys on the channel. Thank you as always. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is my team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the official sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, and the wrestling god of Thunder, and his tag team partner, the world heavyweight champion of microphones, all the microphones in all the world. He is Mr. Blue, and we are so pleased to be with each and every one of you. Thank you all so very much for being my loyal sledgeheads and members of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Club. That, my friends, is going to do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you all week long for the best coverage around on YouTube. When you love pro wrestling and you want the truth, the hammer comes down right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, and we'll see you next time.